We've all heard the saying, busy as a beaver. And that works for the beavers, but do you want to be busy as a business owner? And my answer to that question is no. Hi, my name is Tiffanie, creator of the 13 Months a Year, where we help you over 13 weeks get 13 extra hours a week to give you 28 extra days in the year, and the 13 months a year. It's all about how to save time and be more productive. And I want to talk today about something that it can be a mindset, can be a relationship, but we're going to eliminate this busy from your vocabulary. Busy is not a good thing at all, though a lot of times people think about it being good. So we're going to cover a couple different topics in today. If you want, in the description below, you can pop on down and skip ahead if you wanted to get straight to why it's not good to be busy, or how to be well scheduled, because that's my alternative to being busy. Let's talk about being busy in business. We don't want it to be a ghost town where there's no business, the phone's not ringing, it's dead, we have no money coming in, because that's not good. Conversely, though, people oftentimes will be like, I'm so busy, I've got so much stuff going on. But busy doesn't necessarily equate to being productive, and we'll talk about that in a couple minutes. We want to think about, okay, what are we really busy with? And so I know sometimes people are like, oh, but me being busy is good because it tells people my business is successful. And so I encourage you to think about a different way to say that you're busy. Maybe that you've got a full client load today, that you're seeing patients, you're booked all week. We just want to be careful not to give that illusion of being too busy, because that can impact us in a couple of ways. And this is why it's not good to be busy in business. Again, some of it's a mindset shift. When I think about busy, if you start your morning, you're like, oh my gosh, I have such a busy day. It's like, you're almost overwhelmed. It like creates in your mind this stressfulness. If instead we think, okay, I'm well scheduled, everything in my calendar is perfect exactly the way it is. I've created what I'm looking for. It's a much calmer mindset. So just from that, changing the shift from busy to well scheduled, I think can be powerful in our brain. Now, another way to look at this is I'm all about creating referral relationships. My favorite way to grow my business is to get the referrals. And one of the things I like about referrals is they actually typically close quicker and pay you more. And so that definitely helps in this idea of like saving some time, because we're not spending as much time closing, and we're getting paid more for it. Though if I'm wanting to do referrals, I have to have relationships with people. They really need to name referral marketing into relationship marketing. That's a different video for another day. But we want to create those relationships. And if my referral source calls and says, hey, Tiffanie, you want to go grab breakfast? I can't, I'm too busy. Hey, Tiffanie, do you want to go grab lunch? I can't, I'm too busy. Hey, Tiffanie, you want to go grab a beer? I can't, I'm too busy. Eventually, they're going to stop calling. And if they stop calling, they're going to stop referring me. And I actually have a crazy story about a referral I wanted to give to somebody that was too busy. But that's at the end of this video. So you can skip ahead if you want to, or just hang around and I'll get to that at the end. When you are too busy for what matters. I think that a lot of times people, when they're busy, there's so much going on. It's like, oh my gosh, I don't have time to do any of these things. And oftentimes people talk about, okay, time management, let's do it. However, I think it's much more about priority management. What are the things that are important to you? What are the things that must get done? And how do we ensure that that happens? So I think it's important for us to determine what is important. And so if you're wondering what to do if you're too busy, one of the things that I love to use is Eisenhower's urgent important matrix. Eisenhower's important and urgent matrix takes a look at what are the things that are important, what are the things that are urgent or not, and breaks it into 4 quadrants. So the first quadrant are going to be things that are important and urgent. So these are things that like got to get done. And I make these like my number 1 priority. When it comes to quadrant 2, these are things that are important, though not urgent. And so it doesn't have the same urgency, but they are powerful. They are important. As we move to quadrant 3, urgent and not important, these are the things that can we reassign them? Can we get somebody else to help us out? And then finally, we have quadrant 4, things that are not important and not urgent. To me, let's throw those in the trash. Let's get rid of them. If we look at it, maybe we take the things that we know we want to do and assign them here. And as we look at this, I think the key is how to be productive, not busy. We want to be able to do the things that are important to us Ideally, we spend the majority of our time in quadrant 2 on the things that are important, though not urgent, because we took care of them before they became urgent. Some of the things that I've done to free up my time, urgent, not important, like grocery shopping. Like, I need food to eat to keep my body going, but is that really, something that I have to do? And so I've reassigned it. I love Instacart. Do you use Instacart? Do me a favor, pop in the comments below. Yes, I love Instacart, or I haven't done it yet, or this is the first time I've heard about it. Instacart's amazing grocery shopping. You grab your phone, you put in your order, and they deliver it to your door. And I find that I actually usually buy healthier food and spend less when I use Instacart. And if you haven't tried it before, in the description below, I will leave a link. That's my link that you can try out. You get an free $10 off your first order, even if you don't sign up beyond that. Maybe try and check that out. Another resource that I use to help reassign those things is Upwork. I use Upwork to do a lot of my video editing. So this video you're watching was recorded in my studio, and then I sent it to my person on Upwork. They edit it for me. And that way I'm not spending a couple hours editing the videos. It gives me an opportunity to spend time on things that are important. It is urgent that the video was done, but it wasn't important. So who can I reassign it to? And I think it's just about being productive, setting our priorities. Another technique that I've found very helpful. It's interesting. Sometimes things come into your life and then they go and they come back. I'm reading the book Limitless, and it talks about the Pomodoro technique. And I've used this in the past, but kind of gotten away from it. But you essentially spend 25 minutes focused on a task, and then you take a 5-minute break. 25 minutes on the task, 5-minute break. And I've been working on creating funnels for my business. And if you want to see an example of what I was working on, if you click below for the 5-day more time challenge, you'll see what was driving me nuts. But it's new technology, something that I was learning, and it was taking me a little while. And what I found is I set my timer for 25 minutes. And about the time the alarm was going off is about the time I was getting frustrated and having issues. And then I would walk away, figure out, not even thinking about it, but it would come to my mind, okay, here's what's working. Here might be a workaround. And when I came back, I was ready to go again and it was fresh. So, something like that could be helpful. The last thing that I want to mention, and I know I'm throwing a ton of stuff at you really quick. This is all out of the 13 months a year program. So there's lots and lots of information. And that's going to be the Ivy Lee method. And the Ivy Lee method, the night before, you want to make a list of the 6 most important things that you're going to do the next day to help you get towards your goal. And then when you start the day, you work through your list. Now, there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just that simple. There's some details, but you can always Google it, the Ivy Lee method. Maybe I'll put up a video talking about the Ivy Lee method because I think it's a really powerful way. I find that my today self makes better decisions for tomorrow than if tomorrow that's now my today self. And I'm like, oh yeah, but what about these other things? Or maybe it's something that I don't love to do. But I put it on my list, so I have to get it done. My alternative to being busy is being well scheduled. And I think that it's so powerful when we're well scheduled because it gives us the opportunity to have focus on what we're looking for. And it does require that we become a master of our calendar. And so we have to kind of, take into consideration what's going in the calendar. And I like to put the big rocks in first. And some of that is self-care. Some of that is the major work projects. Some of that is nap time occasionally if it's going to be a crazy day. And so I think you want to think of what are those things that are your high priorities? What are those things that are important to you? And put those in the calendar first. And then you can fill in around those with the other stuff. Now, one thing I like to do that's helped me maintain my sanity as well as be well scheduled, I spend a lot of time on Zoom. Some days it's like 8 to 5 or, 9 to 9 that I'm on Zoom, whether it's doing programs, facilitating challenges, recording videos, who knows? There's a lot of stuff that I'm doing on Zoom. What has saved my sanity though is I have a 15-minute block typically, not always, but typically I have a 15-minute block in between Zoom meetings, which gives me the opportunity to breathe. Because if the meeting doesn't end right at the exact end time and it goes over a minute or two, I'm not freaking out. I can, go refill my mug of tea or my water. I can let my dog out. I can use the facilities. Like, it gives me some time to breathe and maybe answer an email or two. And then I can show up 1 or 2 minutes early for my next meeting. And it's really helped me be well scheduled. If I was doing the meetings back to back to back to back, then yeah, it is busy. And that mindset of busy will begin to creep in on you. And then it's like, oh, anxiety galore. And as I mentioned, I do have a 5 day more time challenge. This is kind of the basics. Let's just get into some how to get more time. We do it 15 minutes a day for 5 days. So you can check that out in the link below. Or if you are interested in the full program, 13 months a year, we'll talk about how we get you an extra 28 days worth of time that you can do the things that you want to do and the things that you need to do. As promised, the last conversation, too busy for referrals. So let me set up the scenario. I call somebody in my network, and my goal was to pass them a referral. I had a client that needed their service, and so I was calling them up. And it's like, I was like, hey, how's it going? I am not going to name the person because that would be mean. And she was like, oh my gosh, Tiffanie, I have been so busy. Blah, blah, blah. For like 3 minutes, she's going on and on and on about how busy she is. And I'm like, well, I'm glad I had a chance to catch up with you. Thanks. Click. She's so busy. How in the world is she going to be able to take care of the referral that I had for her? So I picked up the phone. I called the next person on my list that did what she did to give them the referral because she was so busy. I was afraid she wasn't going to be able to take care of the referral. And I think that sometimes when we're so busy, that can be the thing. Hey, I might want to have done something with you. I might want to have been a client of yours. I might wanted to have passed you a referral, but you're so busy. How are you going to have the time to make it happen? So my goal is let's eradicate the word busy and let's think about being well scheduled. Happy networking, y'all.